podcast. Thanks for joining us for this first podcast of October. We have gone in a completely different direction, talking about some toxic mindsets. This week, we are focused on society, what can make your mindset toxic, and what's going on with the societal world today. And in the training, we really go off the rails, and it is amazing. So I encourage you to pop into our membership group and join us right now. If you're not willing to do that, then enjoy this podcast, and please remember to like, subscribe, and share. And it's the only way to get the algorithm up. YouTube is constantly changing their algorithms, their parameters. They're censoring more and more people, but if you share it with other people, then they'll know to go and watch. So we thank you for joining us, and we hope you enjoy this podcast.
Is YouTube really being stupid?
Yeah, I don't know if you saw the video this morning, but YouTube has now decided they're going to partner with the World Health Organization, and now any form of alternative medicine will be censored on YouTube. So keto diet is censored on YouTube. Yep.
What is y'all, and people that say there's not conspiracies going on?
You are so
the
right.
Heck, I mean, YouTube and the World Health Organization of
you got us all for your conspiracies now. Now we can talk conspiracy.
I mean, that doesn't even make sense to me. It's like, I don't get what's going on. I'm just going to tell you, I think the world has gone bonkers.
Girl, we Christians got to fight. We got to fight because we're losing right now. We're losing
No,
bad.
we're not. So we were talking, we went to the yogurt shop this afternoon, which we like frozen yogurt. So anyway, we were sitting in there, and the lady was like, our forefathers, they fought with a gun, I mean, over a 3% tax. And here we are. I mean, look, I don't understand.
Did you see that Biden just unlocked $2 billion for Iran?
Oh, the other thing they were talking about that really blew my mind, and I can't comprehend this. I almost feel like I mean, I know something's not wrong with me, but when I hear things like that, I feel like something's wrong with me. And I'll tell you what I heard. And now, I'm not a news person. I don't watch the news, so I kind of feel like maybe I should have known, but maybe I'm glad I didn't know. Immigrants are being brought into New York, and they are going to be our policemen. And armed.
Well, that's not just New York.
No. What is wrong with that picture?
Yeah, most of the big blue cities are allowing non-citizens to become police officers.
You would not let my child into the military because of something that is not even on a record. Like, because he was honest out of his heart. He didn't even have a record, and you wouldn't let him in the military. But yet you're going to go hire somebody else to come and arrest me? What the heck is going on? Like, it's really disturbing.
Well, Illinois is my friend who's Donna. She was a police officer in Illinois, and she said that they are, I can't remember if it's the 19th, they're going to start emptying the jails.
They're going to,
They're going to start what?
Emptying the jails.
Why? Like, what? Why, Sheri? Do you have any logical?
Yeah, it's called chaos.
Called depopulation.
Y'all, people are going to start shooting people. People are angry. The world is angry. I mean, who was it? Brian, was it not Brian? And there was a famous singer. He's a country singer, and he's so stinking cute. And Brian, what's his name? Anyway, I'm going to look him up if you want me to. But he's got hundreds and thousands of followers. He's famous. Anyway, he gets pulled over by actually, he didn't even get pulled over. A friend of his got pulled over, his driver, and he went back there and they had an altercation. And he's like, it's not me. He's apologizing to his fans. And he's like, this is not me. This is not who I am. Well, no, duh. It's the world happening. It's anger. Anger is going to, y'all, it's really scary. I'm taking over. But this stuff just, it's like, I can't comprehend logically how we are making some of these choices, but yet call 800 mental health and we'll be right here to save you. Come on, y'all. You just call that number and we're here to help. Well, where is everybody? You're doing these other things. You want to talk about makeup?
No, I think we were covering toxic world right now.
Yeah.
It is toxic.
That's
Oh.
the it goes
I
with
want to
the
put this up for our podcast so bad.
and
Well, I
why
think
can't
you
we?
should. Well, if they pull it down, what's going to happen?
It'll just get censored.
I mean, it's not like we're The View. Maybe
If we were The View, we'd be published and put on television, and
I know it would even be misconstrued as The View.
well,
So you know what? You know, in the during the war,
which
that
war, Sheri?
I think this was for our freedom from in the country,
Okay,
separating from
Revolutionary War.
Revolutionary War. Do you know who led the Revolutionary War? Did you know that preachers led the Revolutionary War? They're the ones that left with their guns and brought the people to fight the war. And now we can't even get churches to stand up.
well, Sheri, do you know who they say a preacher is today?
Who is a preacher today?
Anybody that can share the gospel, right?
Sure.
So we just need to make our own new creation of preachers. Come on, preachers!
And that means we can all lead the war.
We can all lead the war.
We all should be leading the war.
I'm a genius.
You are.
You froze. What did you say, Bree?
I said, yes, ladies, it's time to lead the war.
Yes, it is.
I'm scared, sometimes to speak up because I feel I don't know enough. I just know enough to know that something's not right. And what I hear just sounds like you're telling me there's a pink dinosaur floating around that's gonna, and that's how dumb it sounds. And but I don't know enough about it. I do want to learn more about it, but it's overwhelming. And I think I'm not the only one, right? There's so many people who are like me, and it drives you crazy from worrying about your family, that it makes your family situation toxic. It makes how you eat toxic. It makes what you watch on TV toxic. It makes everything. It makes how you share things with your friend toxic because y'all don't agree. This world is making us toxic.
You're right. You're right. And we lived in a world where everybody, or not everybody, but so many people lived in complete ignorance, which is exactly what the government wanted. What the world wanted was ignorance, because ignorance is bliss, and we didn't know any better. And I am sharing my own story with that.
Yeah, and me too.
I flew until my eyes started to open up. And that wasn't until 2019 when I truly was saved. And then it was just like a blast to my skull. And here I am today with my tinfoil hat growing every single day.
Yeah, and I think, some of that is Holy Spirit.
Absolutely. You pray to hear the truth. You pray to be shown, and you get shown.
Yep.
And it sucks. It's hard, but it just makes me angrier at what I'm seeing, and I want to fight harder, and I want to be more vocal. And it is scary to be vocal, Julie. I agree completely.
It is.
I think it's important to know what direction and where God wants you to fight. You're not called to every battle. You're called to the one that He designed you for.
Right.
Yeah.
And
I think you're right. I think that's a wise point, because you know what I have found, and I would love y'all's take on this. And I think this falls right into toxicity too, because it's really putting ingredients where they don't belong. And I feel like it's certain matters. So let's say, my child's case, and then you have each one of you have your own situations. Who am I to come fight for you when I don't know your battle? Like, who am I to say I stand up for her, when I don't know everybody's battle? And more than, I feel like I find a lot of people who will fight battles based on one small piece of it, and they actually kind of muddy the waters a little bit more. So I don't know. I I guess people get passionate about it from somewhere, or maybe some people just say, hey, I think I'm going to grab hold of that. I don't know what that is, but I don't understand it. Do y'all know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of it is that some people don't know what they need to fight for, and they don't even know that they need to fight yet, and that you might be standing in the gap for them at this point, because that's what I feel like I've been kind of led to do, because there's a lot of people that don't realize, in my county, what we won't have, if they come down with mandates again, and who decides what we're going to, what's going to be for medical, which they're already deciding apparently for you two.
I can't hear you, Sheri. Is anybody else have trouble hearing her? Is it just
I can
me?
hear. But your computer keeps freezing up, Bree.
Okay, hold on. Stop. Oh, no wonder there's a bunch of weird stuff on here. Okay, hold on.
I guess you're right. There's probably some of both, those that will stand up with a voice, because I guess it's kind of like me with kidney disease. I'm not on dialysis, but yet I will advocate. So I guess it's a similar situation.
I think it's a case of discernment, learning to have discernment, especially where the Holy Spirit is concerned, where God is concerned, about what you need to speak into and stand up for, and what is someone else's fight, or what's his fight even, So, I don't know. I think it comes down to discernment. I think there's a lot of people who just don't have good discernment yet. There's a lot of people who just want something to rally around and fight against and feel like they're making a difference. And I don't know. I think everyone wants to feel like they're making a difference, whether they are or not. I think sometimes it can be directed in the wrong direction, like you were saying, Julie. But when God makes the plan, it can shift atmospheres and change the world. So I think that's where we just have to learn to have discernment and really be following where he leads.
Mm-hmm.
Which puts me to where my point is some of those things, like if you don't feel the calling and you're just jumping in because you are angry and you just feel like there's somewhere to jump in, but you don't have a connection, maybe pull back and say, okay, where do I belong? Because I myself have been in those situations and I make a mess. But when you feel a calling and a need to go out and be an advocate in a certain place or an arena, then I feel like if that's your calling, you should absolutely speak up, because that's where power comes in, right? That's where change just starts happening.
Exactly.
But I think it can be toxic. Like we're talking about toxic. I think taking ownership of something that you don't have a passionate about, and that's where you start shoving things in and trying to push and make stuff happen, and it just becomes a dramatic mess. And so, yeah. And I think
we've all been there, haven't we? Like,
yes,
trying to make stuff happen and do stuff, and it's like, I'm just making a bigger mess. I think it's time to pull back.
I also think that when you feel passionate about something and it feels really scary, it's probably the right thing to do. That's how I feel about all the pro-life stuff that I'm wanting to get involved in, and not being quiet anymore.
Yeah, I can give you a for instance with just what I've seen, and I don't know if I shared this with you all before, but back in 2017, when I was a software developer, and every so often we had to get together as a group, and I worked with these people for years, 10, 15 years, some of them. And there would just be a group of 7 or 8 of us, and we would sit down and we would share what we had been working on and kind of, give them a preview of what we did and how we fixed something or we developed something, so that everybody could see it, because they may see it again when they have to support it. And so that I was so nervous to talk to them And I knew these people, and I didn't really want to, and I knew what I worked on, and I understood all of it, and I didn't want to do any of it, you know, and it just made me really nervous and scared. To fast forward back to in May, I believe it was, I stood in front of 150 people and talked to them about a particular resolution that I was bringing forward at our rec. And I was not scared. I was not worried. And I was getting questions shot at me. And I had wherewithal enough during that time, and I know it was God and it wasn't me, to, you know, speak to the lady who was running the PowerPoint and say, put up this slide. They need to see this information so that they understand. And I know that it was all God, but that was, you know, the power of God and how I changed. And I know that all along the way, I've been being prepared for that, right? Doing YouTube with you guys, with doing reels, with, you know, being in front of camera. I wasn't, you know, as concerned about it. So I hadn't really spoken in microphone before this. So that was a little bit different, but
Yeah.
Anyway, but I just, you know, when it is right and you are called to it, and I believe I was called to it, then I think that it will come forward, and you will do what you need to do, and
Kind of like the
encourage
grief
all of
thing.
us. The what?
Yeah. I think
Grief?
The
so.
grief retreat.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And you stepped into it, and you're doing
Yeah.
it. That's right.
And I think that's probably why I can feel the difference with the way that this has flowed versus how most of my life, I would say probably all of my life up until now, where I made a toxic relationship with so many people just because of this is a certain, it could be a certain belief, a certain thought, a certain plan that I had in my mind. And, you know, we have this plan, we're not going to change. Whoop, you know, it was just done. But I can absolutely see, and if it didn't work out, we were going to make it happen one way or another. And so, you know, I can see where that kind of planning versus this kind of planning is totally different, you know, and advocating, you know, it's just totally different. And it feels good. It feels right. There's peace with it. There's not a lot of war. It's just a different feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure, Sheri, it's the same way with you, you know, and the same with you. All of us. So yeah.
Yeah.
We've all been prepared in different ways for different things that we're supposed to be doing or going to be doing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thanks so much for joining us today. If you are a member, please stay and listen to the training that we're getting ready to do. It's going to be off the hook. If you're not a member, you know, you really should be. So get on in there and join us, because we are finally letting go of some of our own toxic mindset around talking what's really going on in the world. And we're about to get so real. So come on in and join us. If you choose not to be a member, that's fine too. Thanks so much for joining us. And please remember to
Like,
Subscribe.
and hit that notification bell so you know every time we put out a new podcast. And we will see you next week. Bye.